the reason HitchFit is still around 15 years later is because we found our lane and we really stayed in it. And we've had to evolve over the years, as we've had different tools and different technology that we could work with, but we really stayed in our lane of transformation. And we've always loved that. We just thrived on seeing people have that success. And so we've had people over the years be like, "Oh, you should do this, at our gyms. Oh, you should have classes. You should have memberships. You should have this." And we were like, "Nah, you know what? Like, we're gonna stay in our lane. We only do one-on-one training in the gyms because I just feel like that's the most powerful for being able to truly get someone to go through that transformation time. And then even with online, we still do a lot of customized work. The majority of our plans, all of our online clients still work directly with myself or Micah, and it is still us personally sitting and looking at their information. And a lot of places
Hello, Empower Nation. Welcome to Empower Her Money podcast. I'm your host, Angela Duncan. Today's episode is sponsored by freemoneytipsbook.com. freemoneytipsbook.com. Head over there, download your free ebook on 7 unshakable tips to get you started on your financial journey. On today's episode, I get to interview Diana. She is the co-CEO of HitchFit Online Personal Training. She's a motivational speaker, 5-time author, 2-time world champion athlete. We're going to talk about mind, body, and spirit, and how big is your butt? Hello, Diana. Welcome to Empower Her Money podcast. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me.
Awesome. Welcome to this amazing podcast. I would love for you to start off and kind of share a little bit about your journey. I know you've accomplished a lot in life, so let's dive into your story first.
Okay. Well, my name is Diana Shalu Lacerte. I live in Kansas City, Missouri with my husband, Micah, and we own a couple of businesses. Our first business is called HitchFit, and we just celebrated just this month, February, is our 15-year anniversary of HitchFit. So yeah, it's been a minute. And we do online personal training globally. We were kind of one of the OGs in the online personal training world. We were trying to have to explain to people what online training was back then, and now it's kind of all over the place. And then we also have brick and mortar gyms in Kansas City, and we've just really always been transformation training. That's what we've always been focused on, is just helping people learn the lifestyle habits that they need to get the results that they're hoping for. And we just recently, within the last year, started a new business, which is kind of in alignment with HitchFit, that's called Soul Fit Retreats. And so now we're running faith and fitness based retreats and taking people to just to Mexico and on adventure retreats, and just opportunity to dig in a little bit deeper and just help with some of that deeper stuff that people need for that transformation process too. So it's been a really awesome journey so far, and we kind of feel like we're just getting started too.
Yeah. So being in business for as long as you have, first off, congratulations on your 15-year anniversary. You've probably learned a few things along the way, and to be in the fitness industry and kind of pioneering the online before, COVID, when everyone was kind of switching to that. What did you find kind of has helped you sustain and be in business for as long as that you have?
Well, we found that the reason HitchFit is still around 15 years later is because we found our lane and we really stayed in it. And we've had to evolve over the years, as we've had different tools and different technology that we could work with, but we really stayed in our lane of transformation. And we've always loved that. We just thrived on seeing people have that success. And so we've had people over the years be like, "Oh, you should do this, at our gyms. Oh, you should have classes. You should have memberships. You should have this." And we were like, "Nah, you know what? Like, we're gonna stay in our lane. We only do one-on-one training in the gyms because I just feel like that's the most powerful for being able to truly get someone to go through that transformation time. And then even with online, we still do a lot of customized work. The majority of our plans, all of our online clients still work directly with myself or Micah, and it is still us personally sitting and looking at their information. And a lot of places they're like, you should scale that, you need to scale that, and everybody's scaling it. So we kind of chose to keep it like, well, everybody else is scaling, this is still going to be customized and really special, and it's why we still have a really high percentage of success.
That's amazing. You're also an author and not just a one-time author. So can you talk a little bit about that? Because I feel like business owners and women in general, we want to write a book. So how did you get to that process and then doing it 5 times, after? So talk about that process.
I just have a lot of words. I have a lot of words to share. I love writing, and so it's something I'm a big journaler. So I just have stacks and stacks of journals, and which actually comes in very handy when writing books too, because anytime that I have thoughts or ideas, I always make sure that I record them and write them down. And so my first book, let's see, the very first book I wrote was actually in 2009 when we first started HitchFit. And then I always wanted to be an author, and so over the years, as I've had just different ideas, one of my books is a 365-page journal, and every day is a reading that's either about your mental, emotional, physical, or spiritual fitness. So it's just kind of 365 days of motivation. I have one called Rethinking Fat Loss, that one just came about having worked with so many clients over the years. It's like you can tell somebody, here's how you eat, here's how you exercise to get X result. But if people don't change their mindsets and really develop a healthy relationship with food and a healthy relationship with their body, that stuff is always temporary. They're always going to revert right back to where they were at the start if they don't get their minds in a good place. And then my latest book is actually called Business of Your Body. And that one I wrote because I am in a business group here in Kansas City, incredible, just entrepreneurs and CEOs. Just these women are just, they're ballers in their business. And after getting in that group 9 years ago and just getting to know so many of them, I just recognized this need, not just for women, for men too, but I saw it especially with women where it's like they're go, 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 go. And they were just not understanding that if they flipped those priorities a little bit and they took care of their physical health and fitness first, it would translate to actually even greater success in these businesses that they're trying to build too. It would be greater success in their relationships, their ability to parent, all of these things, if it was just that little flip of the priorities. So that was where that concept came from. And I think if you want to be a writer, literally, you just have to sit and write. And it's not the easiest thing, but kind of what I do is, even if it's not my most creative day, and sometimes people think, oh, I got to get chapters and chapters out. Even if you get a couple of sentences, just get into that habit of writing, even if it's just a little bit, and always just grab those ideas that you want, and then eventually just you got to get them down. And there's help. Like, I prefer to write my own books and then just have someone edit, but there's people that can also help you nowadays too with getting your thoughts on paper. So if you got a book in you, like, just do it.
Yeah, and I love that because I mean, obviously you're a coach, so there's people that can coach you to write books too. But I love how you said, you're putting your pen to paper, you're putting your thoughts down, and eventually a book kind of just comes from all of that information. And I love how you are saying, like, I'm working with clients and there's a need for this right now. So you've got that knowledge, you're putting it out there for people.
Yeah. Yes.
You also speaker as well, right?
Yes.
Yeah. What are some of your favorite topics that you feel like that you love to speak about when you get that opportunity?
Well, business of your body is one of the things I'm really speaking more about now, and being able to go into different businesses and share that, and just helping not just the business owners, the entrepreneurs, but also helping them figure out how to get their team on a healthier track. Because if you have a healthy team, that's going to lead to higher productivity in your business and just better health in general. But I actually just in addition to speaking, I actually just hosted my very first conference. It hasn't even been 2 weeks. It was in Tampa, like literally 10 days ago. And so that was a whole beast in and of itself. But I actually spoke on my own stage too. I had 13 or 12 incredible speakers. It was amazing. But I did for my first time uh, something that I've been wanting to speak about for a long time, and I call it "How Big Is Your Butt?" And so, so it's a little cheeky, but but it's about I shared about my personal transformation and weight loss story. But what I've seen over so many years of coaching people is we have these big butts that hold us back. We want to do this amazing goal, but XYZ excuses. So I've always had that. I'm like, these big butts are holding us back. And then I get to play with that a little bit, just talking about my own weight loss story too.
Yeah, well, share the story. I would love to hear your weight loss journey too.
Yeah. So let's see, it's been 18 years. So I actually got into the fitness industry and became a personal trainer. And I was actually working in a gym, and then I got a job for Norwegian Cruise Lines. So I was a
Mm.
fitness director for Norwegian Cruise Lines. But if anybody that's been on a cruise ship, there's a lot of food. There's a lot of it's the crew bar. It's all of this. So I gained a lot of weight in that environment, even though I was the fitness director, and even though I was, exercising all the time. I was way overeating, and I found myself falling into emotional binge eating behaviors at night. And I was gaining weight really quickly because I was kind of sad. I was lonely. I was started to have some depression issues, and I was fueling all of that with food. So, um, long story short, in July of 2005, it was actually July 5th of 2005, and I had what I call my Independence Day. I kind of woke up and I had a friend at the gym that I was working at who said, "Hey, I heard you wanted to be a fitness competitor, and like what are you waiting for?" And it was those five little words, "What are you waiting for?" And I was like, "Wait, what are you waiting for?" Yeah, five. I was like, that's five, right? And I literally had the aha moment go off in my head of like, what am I waiting for? And if I'm going to have these dreams, I'm never going to get there with the habits that I have. So I actually hired two coaches for myself to help me to make the changes to my eating habits, to help me train. And I wanted to do fitness competitions. That was my big goal. And so I signed up literally that day for a show that was like 5 months away. So I would have time to get ready for it. And I just didn't turn back. I learned it, and I figured it out, and then I loved the changes that I saw so much. And then I ended up winning that first show, which was just validation for me, and I've
Mm.
never gone back. So I lost 50 pounds, and it's been 18 years. But for me, it was the freedom that I found in that the disciplined lifestyle, that I was like, I never want to go back to feeling how I felt, just trapped in my body and trapped by that behavior and those feelings. I never wanted to go back there. So now I just want people to experience what I've experienced, because I've been on both sides, and I know how great it feels when you get to live in a body that you get to wake up healthy in.
Yeah, and you just feel more confident. I feel like when people see that confidence, they want to work with you,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. That's huge. Yes.
Yeah, awesome. So running the company online, how did you guys transition to an online platform before it was really kind of acceptable, right? So how do you like choose to go online, and then what do you tell people to let them know that, this is still going to be something that's great?
Oh, so we'll go way back. So we started when it was MySpace.
I
You remember
remember that.
MySpace? Okay, so MySpace was awesome because you could spam everybody. And so we um we actually started the online before we had our first brick and mortar business. And we
Mm,
were both we were both training in the gym, but we hadn't officially started HitchFit yet. And Micah had a woman reach out to him from Canada who had seen some of the transformations of clients that he'd worked with, and she was like, "Oh man, I live in Canada. I wish I could work with you, but I live in Canada." And he just one day was like, "Well, what if I just made you a plan and I emailed it to you, and then like you followed it and emailed me, like we could see if that worked." That's literally how it started. And that lady ended up losing like 20 or 30 pounds, and then she shared her story, and then all these people were like, wait, what? Because in the 15 years ago, people thought in their heads you had to go and be one-on-one with a personal trainer if you were going to have results. So it kind of started there, and then we literally had to explain to people, and it was like, people would sign up, and then everything, we still do a lot through email now too, but it was directly communicating with us, and then they would send us pictures, and then when we got people who were willing to share their stories, then we could go on MySpace and we could share their story. Like, they had bulletins and they had all this stuff, so you could share these stories. So then people were like, wait, how is this happening? Like, how did they do this? And that's how it grew. And then when Pinterest came along,
Hmm.
we had an amazing client. She just had such a fantastic transformation. And then one day, like, all of a sudden, we started selling all these online plans, and we were like, what is happening? Where's this coming from? And people on their questionnaires, they would say, where'd you find us? And it was like Pinterest. And I was like, Pinterest? What is Pinterest? Have you ever heard? Like, I had no idea what Pinterest was. So I remember looking up Pinterest, and her pictures had been pinned like 40,000 times or something like that.
Wow.
And yeah, so it was, but we were like, okay, Pinterest. And then we were very successful on Pinterest, obviously, because it was very picture based. And so anytime we had someone willing to share, we just put it on Pinterest, and then a lot of people were finding us. So it's been really cool, just evolving. But man, I'm like, the people that are starting out now, like, you don't even know how good you've got it. Like,
Do
it's
you
so
still
much.
use do you still use Pinterest today?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Pinterest is still, it's still great because it's still, people, it's when you have the transformations, like, that's what draws a lot of people to us, is they see the incredible transformations, and then they can come and read the stories. A lot of the people, we have videos of them, if they are able to come in and share their stories in person and stuff too. So
Yeah. So fun fact, I actually met my ex-husband on MySpace before like online dating was really a thing.
yes.
Because if you remember when you logged into your account, it's like meet these new people and his face popped up and I'm like, oh, he's kind of cute. So I messaged him and then we started talking and that's how that marriage came about.
Oh wow, that's crazy. Well, Micah and I, that's how we met too.
Oh,
It was
really?
it was on my Hey, I mean, it worked.
Yeah. So how are you finding clients now?
I mean, it's still, now we have, we Instagram is a big one. Facebook is still really strong for us because of our age. Like, we're in our 40s now, so it's a lot of 40s, 50s, and 60s is a big chunk of our clients, and so a lot of those people are still on Facebook. And then LinkedIn is actually a really big platform for us too. So that's not a big platform for a lot of people, but because we work with so many people in the business space too, that's actually a really strong platform for us.
Awesome. What kind of content are you producing on LinkedIn?
We do a combination. So this is what we've found is kind of the magic combination, is like, we share about the business, we share success stories, but then we've always shared like our personal lives too. And so just, of us traveling, of parts of our relationship, of our cats, like, so we've always had this kind of combination of letting people get to know who we are, and then also sprinkling in our business stuff too, so that it's not all business, so then people are like, they're just always marketing something. So we've just kind of always, that I'd say we've always done that, of just like letting people get to know who we are, and then here's what we do, and just try to keep a good balance of the personal and the professional.
Yeah, and I can imagine the clients like to see that you lead normal lives and you're healthy. So
Yeah.
it's like you can have both because sometimes people think, oh, you're so regiment, you're probably eating 12 times a day and counting out, like who has time for that? But that's not really what you teach.
No, no, it's not. I mean, and that's the thing, is like, when you get to a place, when you're living a healthy lifestyle, and you're just in a good healthy place, it gives you a lot of freedom for other things. Like, we have seasons that we still go through. We'll put ourselves through a prep. We don't do competitions anymore, but we actually do photo shoots every year, and so we put ourselves through a mini prep, and it's really more for us. It's just to get ourselves on point, keep ourselves on point. We get great marketing content, obviously, with new photos, and I never want to be one of those trainers that's like, hey, here's me 10 years ago. I was in shape back then. So for me, I've like every year, I'm 46 now, I'll be 47 this year. So every year I want to be like, hey, like you can still do it. You can still do it. So we do that, but then the rest of our year, like right now, is more just a season of maintaining. And so we'll go out to eat. We literally just got back from Mexico yesterday. We're planning our next retreat, but I mean, I had to try a lot of food just to make sure that it's good. you know? So, yeah, it is just a balanced thing, but I think it's the undertone of I am a healthy person and that's how I make the choices in my life. And that doesn't mean that I'm controlled by, I'm not like, oh, I did that. Now I have to go work out for 3 hours. I know what my normal is. And because I know what my normal is, I can enjoy those times that are not normal because I know what I'm coming right back to.
Hmm. Great advice there. So what's next for you? What do you see happening for you in the future?
Well, we're really having that conference under our belts is it's kind of opened a lot of new opportunities and new doors, and so we're just really like, where are we supposed to go from here? We had some great people that could impact the direction that we go that actually attended. So I'm actually curious to see what happens in this next year. But the first thing we have coming up is for Under Soul Fit is our Mexico retreat, which is going to be in May, and it's May 30th through June 3rd, and the resort we're going to is in Mexico is spectacular. Just literally did all the walkthroughs 2 days ago, and it's just we just try to create spaces where oh, I thought of this the other day and I really love it. It's a create spaces where where love can thrive and where healing can happen. That's
Hmm.
really what we're trying to do is create those safe spaces for people to come in. Yeah, we're going to work out. Yeah, we're going to do awesome things, but we're also going to create spaces so that we can love on each other and that so we can help each other heal. So that's really what the goal is there. So we're going to focus on that. And then HitchFit is we still have our gym here. We're coming up with a new system for HitchFit that we'll be launching very soon. We're calling it our inner circle. It's something we've never done that will actually be a year long and a lot more interaction with Micah and I. We're only going to put 10 people in that group, and where we'll be working with them for an entire year on their nutrition and their training. So it's not just the transformation time, but it's also teaching them how to get into maintenance or building or how to shift back and forth between those things too. So we'll have that coming soon too.
That's awesome. So, all right. So I have a fun question for you. Switch gears a little bit. If you could pick a superpower or super talent that you don't currently have, what would it be and why?
And I want them all. I think I would pick flying just because I love traveling so much and I love like I want to see the whole world, and so it's such a thing that we have a passion for. And plus, I've had dreams where I was flying before, and I'm like, that actually would be really fun. I believe I would like to just be able to fly.
Yeah. So is it flying like from a bird perspective or like getting somewhere quicker?
I think both because like that's a pretty cool bird's eye view,
Yeah.
just to be able to fly over things too. So I'm going with flying. Yep.
Awesome. Diana, if my audience wants to get in touch with you, learn more about what you're doing and follow you, what is the best way for them to find you?
The best way would be just go to hitchfit.com. That's our main hub of a website, and you'll find links there to the Soul Fit retreats and all of that too.
And all your books, are they on Amazon for people to purchase?
Yep, all the books are on Amazon. Yes.
Perfect. Diana, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for tuning into Empower Her Money podcast. Hope you enjoyed this episode. Don't forget to subscribe, share this podcast, and leave a review wherever you are tuning in.